It's Talk with your host, Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, all right here. Oh, simply straight talk.
Hello.
Hey, what you up to?
Oh, not much. Just taking in everything that's going on in this world. So many celebrities are starting to speak up now.
Yeah, me too, but when it comes to the celebrities, I'm like a double shot of morphine. I'm not feeling nothing they trying to say.
Why? You don't believe their words are sincere? Before you answer, you know we have to start being positive about each other.
I know, it just seems like they're only coming out because so many people are speaking out. So it's more like a publicity or marketing strategy for them, because in reality, they don't want to lose any endorsements.
Sweetheart, I see your point.
Oh, I'm your sweetheart.
Boy, don't get it twisted. You know it's nothing like that.
I know, I'm just playing. But seriously, don't you feel the same way?
Like I said, I see your point. I think you would feel different about celebrities if they were proactive in organizing something and actually interacting on the front line, rather than doing everything from social media or through the mainstream media. So yeah, it does come across as if their response is based on media coverage and exposure.
Yes. See, you feeling my vibe on these things right now.
But I don't think it's all celebrities, but you make a good point. Well, I actually made the point for you. Anyway, I'll give you some credit for effort.
Well, you know, I'm serious about uplifting my people and my culture.
And I respect that about you. But we have to find a way to create a path for open dialogue so we can discuss these things without the other people using it against us.
Yeah, you're right. So, what are you cooking?
Wait, before I get into all that, are you saying Kalita Smith, Tashina Arnold, and Viola Davis don't represent? After all, they are your fake relationship.
I don't want to talk about them right now. I done broke up with them for real. All of them.
Ugh. Do I really want to ask, okay, why and how did you break up with 3 women that don't want you or even know that you exist?
First off, you're a hater. Let's get that clear. You are a hater. But anyway, they were playing games. Neither one of them never tried to win the heart of all this good spicy sauce and pig feet man.
Boy, I am so done with you. The sad part is, I can't get mad at you because your ignorant ass really believes the foolishness that comes out of your mouth. I need to start making memes about you.
Whatever, woman. Listen.
What? Can't get a real woman? Or should I call you Pixar, like the people that make the animation movies? OMG, I am so funny.
Anyway, listen. Hook me up with somebody. You see, I know how to treat a woman. Take it from the man that does it real smooth. All that yo baby, it's not the move. You got to treat them with respect, never neglect, try to project, most of all, project some intellect.
You talking to me like my clock is stuck with a big hand on stupid and little hand on idiot. You stole that from Big Daddy Kane's song, The Lover in You.
That's beside the point. Hook a brother up.
So you spitting verses. Well, let me spit a verse on what my friend would say about hooking up with you. Okay, you ready? A scrub is a guy that thinks he's fly and is also known as a buster. Always talk about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. So, no, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you mine, and no, I don't want to meet you nowhere.
Oh, so you busting out TLC scrubs on me.
Well, I was being nice. My first choice was Rihanna Man Down.
You so cold.
Anyway, I thought you wanted to know what I was cooking.
Oh, yeah, I'm starving.
Good. I'm making special nachos.
See, perfect. Now, that's what I'm talking about.
I know, right? We can have a nacho woman every night. Get it?
Nacho one. Okay, you got Joe. You real funny. You got Joe.
Hello to every one of our Simply Straight Talk listeners.
Are you ready to free your mind and free your voice? Well, you're listening to the right podcast. So let's get this real talk started with your host, Reggie Maddox.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Simply Straight Talk Show. This is your host, Reggie Maddox. Man, today, there is a lot going on. We're still dealing with the pandemic from COVID-19, but we're also dealing with issues that have existed long before COVID-19, which is the injustice. Now, I have done a few, conversations about the whole injustice and how black men are treated by the police, black women are being treated. And there was a lot of divisiveness that I have noticed. But today, I want to focus on black celebrities and why they are not a real influence in the black community. Now, I know that everyone has a favorite celebrity. Everybody looks up to celebrities. But that just seems to where it stops. On the entertainment level, the black community seems to receive, a variety of artists. But when it comes to having an actual political voice, an influential voice in the black community, most of these celebrities are not received well. And, I kind of thought about this as I saw celebrities really start to come out and post stuff after the incident with George Floyd. Some posted after the incident with Ahmaud Arbery. But, as I started to notice that a lot of these, a lot of black celebrities started to post things, there was a lot of people chiming in on these celebrities. One guy actually made a video telling the celebrities just to shut up and stay out of it. And I don't think they should stay out of it, but I understand the frustration that this young man had with black celebrities. I really do get it. So I decided, let's kind of talk about it a little bit. Let's kind of discuss it. Why do black celebrities not carry a lot of weight, within the black community? And then I started to think about the black celebrities or the influential voices of the black community when we had Martin Luther King, James Baldwin, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Nikki Giovanni, Angela Davis, Seney Washington, Fannie Lou Hamer, let me get it right, and Dr. Jawanza Kunjunfu. When we had these people speaking, what was the difference? What made these black influential people stand out in the community that when they spoke, people listened? Whereas today's celebrities, people really don't listen. And there's a lot of kickback. And a lot of people who are listening to them, it's all based on fandom. It's not based on them having a real, true influence. So, but let's just say, like, in the era of the miraculous people I just mentioned, they were dedicated to activism for equal rights and treatment of African Americans in the United States. They were. You cannot dispute it. You cannot argue that point any other way. And during this period, when they actually spoke and when they actually addressed issues, they rallied people for social, legal, political, and cultural changes, to prohibit discrimination, injustice, and at that door and during their time, some of them are still alive today, but segregation was a big issue then. Now, somebody will say, well, you know what? It was a different time. They were dealing with different things. My question to you is, really? Do you really think that they were dealing with things that are different than what we're dealing with now? I think James Baldwin said it best when he said that the terminology has changed, but the reality is the same. It's the same game. They're just playing with different rules. And I think they stayed abreast. They even warned us about the rules changing in the game. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But they accomplished things by remaining connected to the community. And I think that's the big thing. I think that's what made their voices so strong and so influential is that they were connected to the community and they were proactively, and I think that's the key word. They were proactively creating, connections within the community. They weren't doing it over social media. It wasn't they weren't doing it from Good Morning America and TV shows. They was doing it in the neighborhoods, in the communities, not just the communities they were from, but they were doing it in communities of other people, other Black communities. So they didn't just stay on their front porch. They didn't just go around the neighborhood, which was around specific people that they knew. They actually went out to meet new people, new Black people. And they didn't do it in a way that was arrogant and self-promoting. It was not about them being who they were. It was about members of the Black community seeing and teaching and educating and empowering them and speaking to them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't place themselves on this pedestal above themselves, above everybody in the Black community. And I think that's what made them so strong. After so many of James Baldwin's interviews, he would take questions from people. He would actually talk to people. Martin Luther King would talk to people. Muhammad Ali would actually work out in the neighborhoods around the people. And he was by far, and still is, the most popular boxer in history. He was a bigger celebrity than any of the celebrities we got out today. Everybody knew Muhammad Ali. And the thing about it is, for this man to run with people in the community, walk down the streets of those same Black neighborhoods. And I heard him say in an interview, he was saying that he did not want to be a Black celebrity that had a fancy yacht, had money and fame, and still could not return to his community and speak to the Black people, speak on issues of injustice, speak on issues of racism, speak on issues of Black women being raped and harmed. We don't have that today. Not that face that's willing to take that stage and take that presence from a proactive standpoint. And I think that's one of the things that, many of the people, the voices from from those people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, James Baldwin, Nikki Giovanni, Angie Davis, these people, they were proactive with their voice. They didn't wait for death to come knocking at somebody's door and to send a tweet or Instagram. They didn't need all that. They did it because they was already aware of what was taking place in the community. So they jumped on board to make sure that there was some type of actions and steps already in progress. When the riots were taking place, I didn't see any celebrities out until later in the game. I never heard of any celebrity saying, hey, we're going to organize a march and I got these people, we're all going to march. They all jumped in after the fact. Or they jumped in when the governors or the mayor said, hey, come hop on TV and tell everybody to quiet down and be cool, please. And it didn't work. It did not work because their voices don't carry the weight in the ears of the people, and they are not receptive in that manner. People will receive them on the rap stage. They'll receive them on the basketball court. They'll receive them performing and entertaining. But when it comes to them being received in a political and a racial stance for morality, they're not looking at Black celebrities like that. The Black community does not hear their voice like that. And it's not saying that they're immoral people or that they're bad people. It's just saying that they are disconnected from the community until it's time for a concert or a basketball game or a show. And it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. It is the actual truth. So, I think about Diana Sands. Now, Diana Sands was one of the original actors from A Raisin in the Sun with Sidney Poitier and Ruby Dee. And she had an issue with the fact that a lot of young black women and young black men were not able to get roles in Hollywood because they was not creating roles for people of color in Hollywood, for black people. And now we're hearing that same thing today. I recently heard there was an interview with George Clooney and Viola Davis where they was actually talking about that there aren't many roles for black women, black men. And you see on a lot of these TV shows, they create these sitcoms. There's plenty of characters, but only normally one character can be black. So that is why I say, Diana Sands made it her own effort, and she created movies for black actors by creating Third World Cinema. She was one of the founders of Third World Cinema. And the purpose of that was not only to create movies and give roles to black men and women, but the purpose of it was to really educate on the entertainment industry, young black men and women, teaching them how to act, showing them how to use the cameras to make a movie. This is the difference I see in people like Diana Sands, Fannie Lou Hamer, James Baldwin, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali. But when we come to our modern times today, and you have to ask, why are the black celebrities not being received? And I listen to some of the things they say. Cardi B was very adamant and very open about the Tiger King guy and how he needs to be let free and all this type stuff. But she was very silent in the death of the two black men. There was no rant post or anything like that. Not till very late, almost a week or so later. So that is the thing that I'm talking about, and I think this is why a lot of black people had take issue with our black celebrities because they are not connected to the community. Now, this is no knock on anybody. I mean, let's call it what it is, It's just that celebrities today are not attached to the black community. They see the black community as a market and an advertising role, but they do not see them or the concerns of the black community. I mean, you'll be surprised now. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. A lot of times entertainers will use these platforms. Now, they have a platform now because they're getting national coverage, but a lot of these celebrities will use the hardship and struggles of the black community as a promotional, advertising, and marketing ploy for their own brand to help build a bigger audience. They will say things that they feel people want to hear in order to draw them a bigger audience, to get them more followers, in order to get them more merchandise out. That is the main objective. That's their objective. And it reflects when they try to speak to the black community. Now, I don't know how many of them actually sit down, like when they post stuff, and read the comments where people are saying, please, dude, stop talking. Shut up. Nobody's trying to hear you. What are you talking about? And I think one of the biggest, clapbacks that people sent out was to Kamala Harris. Now, you got to think about, Kamala Harris had a horrible track record, especially of the way she prosecuted black men. But then for her to come out and try to be on the black side of things, that she's a caring woman and she wants all the injustice and all this type stuff. But then again, you was a contributor to the injustice of black men. But now you're trying to speak up for black men? That's why you get a lot of people telling Kamala Harris to shut up. Nobody wants to hear you. Shut up. And I think this is what we're dealing with right now. This is the frustration that a lot of black Americans, the everyday hardworking people going to a job, working 80 or 100 hours a week, barely bringing home nothing. This is the message they're trying to send to the black celebrities who sit in their big fancy houses, pretending to be in the struggle. But you know what? We're going to talk a little more. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more of the Simply Straight Talk Show.
We'll be back with your host, Reggie, on Simply Straight Talk.
Hello, Simply Straight Talk family. If you are enjoying this episode, at the end of the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. And why not share this with a friend? Also, visit our blog at newlifenewmind.com, where you can find additional articles on more great topics. Stay tuned. The show will continue right after this message.
You're listening to Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Simply Straight Talk Show. This is your host, Reggie Matters. Man, y'all forgive me because in the first part of the show, I'm telling you, the studio chair was so uncomfortable. Oh, my God. Okay, but sort of worked out, but I'm a little more comfortable right now. So I hope my voice and the flow is a whole lot better. But anyway, let's get back into our conversation. Today, we're talking about why are Black celebrity voices not a real influence in the Black community? And I brought this conversation to the table because as I was watching a lot of celebrities come on Twitter, come on Instagram, Facebook, they're all saying things, what we want to hear. But a lot of people are clapping back like, really? Where were you before? Like y'all acting like this is just new. Like y'all are speaking like it's a big shock. So I want to kind of address this and I want to kind of explain, why I feel now, like I said, these are my personal feelings, why I feel like a lot of Black celebrities, why their voices are not being heard when it comes to our political and the concerns of injustice against the Black community. And I want to speak on that. And I want to tell you why I think a lot of Black people are saying, you know what, whatever, dude, go your way. And for the females, they're saying like a lot of them, they're just saying, bye, Felicia. You know what I'm saying? So to get this conversation kicked off, all right, here's the first thing that really came to my mind when I started to think about all this. Now, the situation between Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd took place during COVID-19, which means a lot of people are told to stay at home. And for celebrities, that means that they can't produce movies. They can't go to sets. They can't do a lot of studio and music writing and all this type of stuff. They can't play sports. They can't play basketball. So right now, are they really just being active because it's not going to affect them down the line? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if it wasn't for this pandemic taking place, would we have these celebrities speaking up like they're speaking up now? Or would they be on their movie sets? Or would they be on their movie sets saying, listen, everybody, be quiet, be good. It's all right. This is a horrible thing that happened, but this is not the way to do it. So that's what I'm just kind of wondering. Did COVID-19 put them in a position to where they say, hey, let's just speak up now? It's not going to affect our money. I can't go make movies. There is no basketball game, so we're not going to lose money from our contract. So let's speak up now. So that's one point that kind of makes me think. The next point is, I really feel like, whereas when I mentioned the people before, like James Baldwin, Malcolm X, especially Muhammad Ali, a lot of today's celebrities are attached to their brand. It is about the brand. And if their brand is associated with a corporation, they're not going to say too much or do too much to be associated because it could affect their money. Because a lot of times in their contract, if something that is conflicting, or they can say controversial, that could reflect negatively upon, themselves, which will reflect negatively upon the corporation that's sort of sponsoring them, they're going to sit back and be quiet because they don't want their money to be touched. So they'll send out nice little sort of vague tweets like, the injustice that's taking place is not right. Something needs to be done. And that's it. They're not going to be real vocal. And that's what you even see today. A lot of these Black celebrities are not being really vocal. A lot of them are just simply sending out something to send something out. But it goes back to what I said earlier about the proactive part, like actually being in the neighborhoods. Put it like this. I hate what happened to Mr. George Floyd happened. I think that was totally wrong. But what if we had more of our black celebrities who was actually working in the communities that when this happened, instead of the people within the community saying, let's do a march. No celebrity that I know of, now please correct me if I'm wrong, but I never saw of any black celebrity initiating a march, taking the lead to organize it and plan it. I never saw that. More from what I saw, they were all responsive to what us regular people who really feel the heat do. You know what I'm saying? Who really get the backbone and the blunt of the injustice and the immorality and the uncivil treatment. We get the blunt of it. We were the ones that was out there marching. We was the ones that was out there raising our voices. They sort of jumped on the bandwagon digitally to speak their minds. And during the last couple of days, people like Jamie Foxx said, he took his people out there and all this type of stuff. But where were you from the beginning? Because this stuff did not just start happening yesterday. That's what I don't understand. Did it take a death of a man for, these celebrities to actually say, I'm going to go to my community and march with the people? People like Muhammad Ali would have already been marching, would have already been speaking. It would have been on their platforms, not because somebody asked you. And now you feel like you have to give a public relations answer. So money and fame and branding, man, they don't want to mess none of that up. So they really don't want to get involved. And the fact that we're in COVID-19, I really think that's why a lot of them are being active, somewhat active right now. Oh my God, man, this is tough. It's and I think about Sidney Poitier and the roles he played. Sidney Poitier played roles that were Sidney Poitier never played a crackhead. Sidney Poitier never played a drug dealer. He played a gambler at one time. He played an escaped prisoner. But his roles represented a black man with morality, a black man with ethics and pride. He never played like this killer and murdering black man like we see today. So that's why it makes me wonder why many of the celebrities today are so quick to label themselves as stuff like the king, or they want to be labeled, with their followers like the Beehive and the Barty Gang. And I say that because I feel like most of them take more pride in being idolized. They take more pride in being recognized than actually being an activist or just someone who is genuinely active in the concerns of the black community. Because them being recognized and idolized is more important. It's more important. And it's a shame, but it's the truth. It's the reality of how many of them see their lives. And that is the separation as to why a lot of us common black people, when we hear these black celebrities talk, you speak to us like you're promoting and marketing something. You don't speak to us as if you are one of us in the same struggle with us. And I think people feel that. And I think a lot of them think that their star status overrides any other feelings of commonality in the struggle, in the concern, in the fight, and what we deal with. There is a big difference if I get in my little raggedy car and drive down the street and get pulled over by the police than if LeBron James or Denzel Washington drives down the street and get pulled over by the police. It's a big difference. Now, I'm not saying that they're free or, not subject to any form of discrimination or injustice. But I'm saying that mine will be quite harsher than theirs. I'm saying that I will face a greater penalty than they will, because they are, they are a part of a corporation. They are tools. And I think Malcolm X said it best. I think they have forgotten. They think that they are sitting at the table, but Malcolm X said it best, says, you're not dining at the table if you're not eating. And despite the fact that they have accumulated a great wealth, they have not accumulated as great a wealth as the ones who are sitting at the table and eating. And for those of us who are like me, the more common people, the blue collar, the working, they're taking one check, they're trying to make another check work. We are those that are barely getting scraps. And I think it's important that we have to remember that. But you know what? We're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back with more of the Simply Straight Talk Show.
Free your mind, free your voice right here on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, we all know that Atlanta, Georgia is a big city, and sometimes you might need just a little bit of help. But you know what? That's why we have Legs Concierge Services. Are you looking for someone to help you with errands, event planning, dog walking, organizing, shopping, or maybe you're in need of a personal assistant? Then you need to contact Legs Concierge Services, operating in Atlanta, Georgia. For more information on these and additional services, contact rarmstrong105@gmail.com. That's rarmstrong105@gmail.com. Remember, time is precious, so let Legs Concierge Services help you enjoy it so much better.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
All right, everybody, we have reached the final thoughts of today's show, and I want to thank you for listening and staying with us and checking out the Simply Straight Talk Show. Today, we talked about why Black celebrities are not a real influence in the Black community. And I think we expressed some really great points, man. I wanted to share with you the fact that a lot of Black celebrities are not attached to the Black community, although they may say that they are. They may feel that they are. But their attachment to the Black community is digitally. You know, riding through the black community in a fancy car and, you know, saying hey to one or two people and then moving on is not really addressing the concerns of the community. And one thing I didn't really touch on was a lot of times the Black celebrities say, you know, hey, well, I own a restaurant. I put a restaurant there, a strip club there. You know what I'm saying? Accumulating wealth does not mean wealth. Great wealth is more accumulated. Great wealth is more when you, as a person who has the ability to create opportunities that allow others to grow personally and professionally. And in a lot of Black communities, that opportunity is not there. We don't have community centers in many of our Black communities anymore. They have been taken away. But yet, who's building community centers? If they are building community centers, it's mainly by someone, you know, from the community who's trying to help out. He's struggling to help out. But I don't want to end this show on a note saying that I'm bashing all members of the Black community, because there are people that I really do want to say a real heartbeat prop, as Digital Underground would say, and from, you know, a real shout out to, you know, Michael B. Jordan, Willie D, you know, and Willie D, I just want to say this. Willie D is, I think most of you know that Willie D had a lot of classic hip hop songs with the Ghetto Boys. But this is a man that uses his platform and he speaks a lot on the things that's going on in the Black community. And he doesn't just, you know, attack people. Willie D actually gives an unbiased review. He will tell you when the Black community is wrong. He's tell you when the Black community is right. He will call out individuals for being wrong and individuals for being right. So much respect to Willie D, man. And I appreciate the fact that this is a brother that comes on YouTube. He comes on Twitter. He's on Facebook. He does live shows, but he really does speak on things that you never hear other Black celebrities talk about. So much respect to Willie D, man. Much respect, man. Appreciate that. And we need more celebrities like Willie D, because if we did have more celebrities like him, I guarantee you we would have a whole different approach about the way we go about things, and you would definitely see more progress in the Black community and more respect for our Black celebrities. Hey, this is Reggie, man. I appreciate y'all checking out the show. Thank you, and we will see you next week. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Straight Talk Show with Reggie Maddox. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our podcast to your friends and colleagues. And please leave us a positive review on iTunes. Be sure to check out our archive section on iTunes, Spotify, Libsyn, and YouTube. Join us next time for another edition of the Simply Straight Talk Show.